got here as quickly as I could. Do we know what happened?
Construction crew dug up a power cable.
Didn't he know it was there?
We don't think so. It should have been obvious if they had contacted USA North.
It's so easy. Such a shame. Is anybody badly hurt?
We're not sure. The ambulance is on the way.
Well, let's get on it. A small cable buried in the ground. A power line in front of your office. A gas line beneath your construction site. Insignificant to most people, potential trouble for us. We are Utility Accident Scene Investigation. The Sacramento Municipal Utility District, or SMUD, provides electric power to approximately 1.5 million customers in 900 square miles of Central California. Its territory encompasses Sacramento County and small portions of Yolo and Placer counties. SMUD strives to provide safe and reliable electrical service to its customers. That is why it's so important for SMUD to partner with the construction trades to ensure that no injuries or deaths and no interruption of power result from accidental contact with power lines. This program reviews important regulations and safety practices that apply to all construction activities near SMUD's electrical system and adjacent utilities. These guidelines apply to everybody. SMUD's electrical distribution system includes electrical generation facilities, about 500 circuit miles of transmission lines, and more than 9,000 circuit miles of distribution lines.
I've pulled up the info on the dangers of contacting electrical lines. You want to take a look at it?
I wish everyone could understand how serious this can be.
They would if they had been to a utility accident scene.
Contact at any point along the system can be deadly. All SMUD's power lines conduct enough electricity to cause serious injury or death. Physical effects include stopping the heart beating, muscle contractions, and severe burns to the skin and internal organs. Once contact is made, there's no going back. Electricity travels at 186,000 miles per second. You cannot move fast enough to avoid it. Electricity always tries to travel to the ground and takes the path of least resistance to the ground. If you're in that path, you're fried. How do you, in the construction trades, protect against contacting electrical and other utility lines? Notification is your first line of defense. Digging into underground electrical lines is the chief construction-related power accident on the SMUD system. It poses the greatest danger to workers. Knowing where utilities are buried is easy. One phone call is all it takes. In Northern California, there's a free service agency called USA North that will locate buried utilities for you. SMUD and other local utilities are members of USA North. One call to USA North informs all member utilities of your intention to dig. The only exceptions might be the rare private or company-owned utility line that would have to be identified independently.
To reach USA North, dial 811 or 1-800-227-2600. The call to USA North must be made from 2 to 14 days before your planned excavation. Before making the call, you should locate and mark the limits of the planned excavation. That way, when utility representatives arrive, they will know where to identify their facilities. Utility marks must be preserved for the duration of the job. If any of the markings are not reasonably visible, you must call USA North and request a remarking by the affected utility. It is important to understand the entire proper excavation process. Download this information at www.usanorth.org. Read and understand all specific provisions before planning any digging in SMUD service area. Remember, no job is too small to skip locating underground utilities first. Failure to do so can result in injury, damage to property, and interruption of service, which may extend well beyond the immediate area of construction and be very costly. These regulations apply to all property owners, small contractors such as landscapers, irrigation companies, and service providers. Even small hand excavations can encounter underground electrical service, communication cables, water and irrigation pipes, and sewer lines. Be especially cautious about digging around pad mount transformers and meters for electrical and natural gas. A different notification is required for working within certain distances of SMUD's overhead power lines. Working distances are mandated by state law and vary by the size of the current the wires are carrying and the type of construction being performed. They are enforced by the state agency, Cal OSHA.
Many workers and equipment operators are trained on these regulations. However, they can be verified or downloaded by contacting the Cal OSHA website. As a general rule, SMUD recommends you maintain a distance of at least 20 feet when performing work around overhead energized power lines. To notify SMUD, contact the utilities customer service number at 1-888-742-7683. Notification must be made before work begins. Once you describe the location of your proposed construction work, SMUD will inform as to what the voltages are, and the crane operator can determine if the utility will need to de-energize or cover the lines before construction can commence.
Your second line of defense against accidental electrical contact is safe working practices. When digging near buried electrical cables, equipment operators can take extra care to minimize the possibility of injury or death. Backhoe operators should set the outriggers on backhoes in contact with the ground before commencing work. If accidental contact is made while operating any type of equipment, avoid touching the metal portions if possible. Try to break contact and move the vehicle. If this is impossible and the operator is not otherwise in danger, remain in the vehicle until the power is disconnected. If it is necessary to exit the equipment, avoid contact with metal parts. Jump as far away as you can and land with your feet together. Hop or shuffle away, keeping your feet together. This is necessary because the ground becomes energized from some distance from the point of contact. The strength of the charge decreases with the distance. If you separate your feet, the electrical potential of the ground under each foot could be different, causing current to flow through your body.
Control the impulse to rush to an injured coworker who is in contact with a live electrical current. This will probably result in your injury or death too. Don't approach until someone from SMUD or the fire department tells you that the power has been turned off. Know that some circuit breakers in the electrical grid are designed to trip and then re-energize a short period later. You may enter the accident area safely, only to have the current turn on unexpectedly.
If you witness a contact, call emergency services. Clear the area of all personnel. If the victim is free of electrical contact, render first aid. Begin CPR if you're trained to do so.
There are some other hazards that we need to warn people about. There are other utilities buried underground.
Right. Digging up a gas line can be just as dangerous as an electrical line, maybe even more dangerous. If you contact a buried gas line, turn off the equipment without delay and leave the immediate area. Do not attempt to stop the leak. Evacuate all personnel to an area upwind of the site. Do not operate any device capable of producing a spark. Once you are a safe distance away, contact emergency services and the natural gas supplier. Do not re-enter the area until told safe to do so by emergency or utility personnel. Breaking a large water main can cause flooding. Evacuate the area immediately and contact emergency services. Call the water utility to shut off the flow. Not only do workers have to be aware of actually touching energized wires, they need to be cautious of arcing as well. Protection from energized overhead lines is maintaining distance, not relying on insulation. The coating on some overhead conductors is actually just weatherproofing and will not insulate from contact. With electricity, hazard recognition is the key to avoiding injury or death. Before setting up a job site, notice the physical location of all overhead power lines. Identify areas where moving vehicles might come into overhead contact and set up boundaries prohibiting them from entering. Pre-plan where materials will be stored. Do not store materials in places that will bring them near power lines when they are moved. Immediately recognize, report, and correct any contact hazard you see.
Any type of machinery on a construction site is potentially in danger of contacting an electrical line. If it moves, operators must be aware of this possibility. If any vehicle contacts an energized line, the operator should stay in the cab if possible. All other personnel should move away from the equipment and load, including ropes and cables securing that load. The driver should try to break contact by moving in a reverse direction.
Accidentally contacting metal tools and supports with energized electrical lines can cause serious injury or death. These include ladders, scaffolding, pipes, reinforcing bars, and paint roller poles. The rule is to look up, down, and all around before attempting to raise or otherwise move any long metal object on a construction site. Landscapers and arborists have their own set of concerns. Don't plant, cultivate, trench, or otherwise dig near pad mount transformers or meters until the location of underground electrical service is determined. Don't climb trees if electrical wires pass near limbs and branches.
It's been a long day. There's a lot more than I was expecting. Got any coffee?
Just made some.
Gonna be working late going over all these accidents. You gotta make sure that everyone knows how to work safely around utilities.
True.
The electrical distribution system is an important part of our infrastructure, as electricity is essential to the functioning of our society. Safeguards evolving over a century of experience have led to an extremely safe, well-functioning network. However, electricity is and always will be potentially dangerous to individuals who do not recognize and respect its potential. By following the procedures outlined in this presentation, you can ensure that the system continues to operate safely and efficiently for all.